Welcome back to the Coaches to the Moon podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're heading all the way over to Nashville, Tennessee to visit my new good friend, Mr. Ryan Englin from Core Matters. This is a gentleman who understands why having an amazing team of amazing people is the heart and soul of a business, and why as an entrepreneur it is so crucial to take those scary steps to hire a team and start to systemize, delegate, and automate parts of your business, so not only you can have great freedom in your lifestyle, but so your clients can get a great experience, and so your team can feel passionate about the work they do. So Ryan and his company Core Matters have a system called the Core Fit Hiring System, which helps people to basically find rock star talent faster and better, to train them in a way that helps them to take over more of the business, more responsibility, more excitement in their daily jobs. And also, Ryan knows a fair bit about fishing, so we talk about that too today. Really fun podcast. You can tell by how fast I'm talking. I loved this show. I think you'll love it too. So here he is, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Ryan Englin on Coaches to the Moon.
This is Coaches to the Moon, the only podcast you need to skyrocket your coaching business and create true impact on the world. Here's your host, Alex Morris.
Welcome back to the Coaches to the Moon podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We're going transatlantic again today, heading over to a new city, a new state, I believe, for the Coaches to the Moon podcast, Nashville, Tennessee, where our guest, Ryan Englin, is currently residing and having a night off from the busyness of being a dad. Mate, Ryan Englin is here to join us because his company, Core Matters, helps people with their hiring process, that rock star talent that we all need to grow and systemize our businesses. And we're going to talk about that today. So Ryan, I really appreciate you coming on the show, mate.
Oh, Alex, thanks for having me.
Good stuff, man. Talk to me about fishing, Ryan, because your show, your podcast is called the Tackle Box Talent, and you have a recommended question on your podcasting profile, which I don't normally go to because I always think they're a bit stale. But why learning to fish can help you be good at hiring. For some context, Ryan, I'm a dad. I've got two little twin girls, and I've kind of gone hyper masculine since they were born, right? I've as you can probably tell by my eccentric shirt and purple lights in the background, but and my pink microphone. But I basically, I'm really interested in the idea of teaching these girls outdoor skills, camping, fishing. We have a family fire pit every weekend in winter. We've got a little vegetable garden down the back. We bake bread. It's really fun. Fishing is one that sounds amazing. I feel like I need someone to teach me to fish. It sounds like you're a big angler yourself. So talk to me about your fishing and then why that wheedles its way into your business as well.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, out of all the outdoor stuff I want my kids to be excited about, fishing is the one that I succeeded in. That was one of the allures to coming to Tennessee, was we'd get to fish more because there's more water than there was in Arizona. And the kids love going fishing, and it's so much fun. But like any kids, they get bored, they get distracted. We don't always catch things, but we always have a great time. No,
in Tennessee, mate, what do you catch?
Well, where we're at in Tennessee, it's going to be a lot of smallmouth bass. But what we love fishing for is trout. I love fishing for trout.
Amazing. A lot of people smoking trout down there in Tennessee, I'm sure. A lot of big barbecue smoking scene.
Yeah, I don't know if they're smoking a whole lot of trout, but pork and brisket and stuff. But there's a YouTube channel that's a guilty pleasure for us is these guys going out into the back countries in New Zealand and catching trout, because they got some of the best wild trout fishing out there, and the kids love watching. I love watching it. But it was really early on in my career. I got a marketing background just like yourself, and we used to do marketing for home service contractors, tradies, and we spent a lot of time helping them figure out how to get the right people in to the customer side of their business. And what I realized really on in marketing was that so much of marketing is about attraction. It's about attracting the right people, and the way you attract the right people is with the right message. And so when we pivoted out of that and moved into helping people with recruiting, another marketing activity, I had this idea that if we look at attracting people and luring, right, luring them in to work with our company and to join our team, we got to make sure we have the right bait. We're paying right. We got the right benefits. We got the things that they're attracted to. We got to make sure that we use the right gear so we move fast enough. We communicate well. We're effective at it. We got to make sure that we have the right tools, that we know exactly what we do. Okay, we caught them. Now what do we do? Right? The fishing analogy breaks down a little bit once we catch them. But other than that, you get the idea. And there's a bunch of principles as it relates to fishing about attracting, fishing in the right place, knowing what you want to catch. All these principles that my dad taught me real early on when it comes to fishing, we apply them in recruiting and they just work.
What's up, guys? Alex here. If you're enjoying the episode, please don't forget to give us a subscribe on whatever channel or platform you're watching or listening to this. It really helps us to make an amazing show every week. Thank you so much. Back to the episode. Yeah, I get that. We use the fishing analogy in marketing a lot, but we talk about it that we are sharks and the customers are fish, which is obviously a horrific analogy, but it's the same sort of thing. Although in recruitment and marketing, hopefully it's a much more beneficial outcome for the fish in both circumstances, more of a win-win. But that's really interesting, man. It's a good analogy. It's a lovely one. And yeah, it does break down a little bit once they're on the hook, right? Yeah. the benefits. But it's a really interesting concept. And you just touched on your dad there for a little bit, which is cool. So there was something I really resonated with in your sort of podcast profile, which is about your father saying that he was a blue collar guy and your amount of time you could spend with him was dictated by the people on his team, how much load they could take so he could actually take some time off of work. Was that a big contributing factor in you starting your recruiting business? And how do you continue to, keep that in mind, I suppose, as your kids grow?
Yeah, I think subconsciously it was, but it wasn't until about 4 years in to me doing the recruiting stuff that I was meeting with my coach and we were digging into why I was so passionate about this, that I just had this breakthrough moment. And I just remember sitting there just in tears, talking this through to him, going, it was just like the heavens parted and it was clear for the first time ever. So I think subconsciously that was there, but it was never the driving factor for me. But one of the things that always was a driving factor for me was seeing what my dad sacrificed to create his business. The time he gave up on the things he loved and the people he loved and the time he's invested in this business. And since I've been an entrepreneur, working with other businesses, I've seen so many other entrepreneurs have that same vision of, I'm going to go start my business, make more money, have more time, spend more time on the things I love, and the business consumes them and they never get to realize that. And the number one reason the business consumes them is they don't know how to hire and build an effective team that can take those things on so they can go focus on the things that really are important to them. And so that was really what started to drive me, was I didn't want to see people go through what my dad went through, which is work crazy amounts of hours to take care of the people he loves and never really get to enjoy the fruits of his labor.
Do you think that the internet has been beneficial in people being able to do that? Because my dad had a shop as well. He had a travel agency, and I believe he actually had 3 or 4 of them looking back. And so this was pre-internet. And so he had to be on the floor. He had to be there the whole time. He couldn't manage things. So I suppose has the internet been beneficial in the fact that you can hire people remotely, do more remote work and have people working for you when they're not there? Or has it actually been detrimental, given that your dad, had he run an online business like you or I, would have been consistently available every second he was home as well?
I think that it's a spectrum. I don't think that there's any right or wrong answer here, but I do think that for some industries, the internet has made things worse. For some, it's made it better. But let's look at the ones that can work from home, that have that opportunity to work from home. What's the biggest challenge that I see is that we don't know how to unplug. And so, I might be available. And if my kids knock on that door and come in here and interrupt me, I start to feel guilty because I'm sitting here in my office, not working. They finally leave. Now I feel like I have to do double the work to make up for the time I just spent with them. And I think this is a problem that a lot of entrepreneurs have, is that when it's so easy to access the work environment, it's really difficult to unplug and really distance yourself. And that, I think, is one of the downsides to the internet. I think another downside to the internet is it's leveled the playing field, which in the marketing world is great because now you can compete with these big box retailers and these Fortune 500 companies and these giant organizations. You can compete with them as a small business. But that also means that you're now fishing in the same pond they are when it comes to talent. And, Amazon at one point in time was spending $5 million a month just on recruiting ads. I don't know a lot of entrepreneurs. Like, there's probably a lot of people listening right now going, I can't even picture $5 million in a year in revenue, let alone spending $5 million a month just on recruiting. You can't compete with that. And so the internet's leveled that playing field. So now you have to be even that much more creative or in different places so that you're not competing with those same big box retailers.
Yeah, it's so interesting, the correlation between what you're talking about recruitment, we talk about lead generation. It's the same thing where we're not going to be able to compete. If I have a business coach come in and they say, oh, I can really help everyone. It's like, yeah, well, so can Gary Vee, Tony Robbins, and Grant Cardone. You need to niche down a little bit so you're not competing with these guys with astronomical audiences and budgets. Yeah, cool, man. I mean, we talk all the time about the parent guilt and the systems and switching off from consistently being available on your phone and the million different softwares where people can contact you these days. And I'm sometimes do pretty well with it. Sometimes I'm pretty guilty. That is just life, I feel. But just quickly to touch on that, what's your setup like at the moment? Because your company is currently in Arizona, where you were before. You're in Tennessee, and you mentioned you're moving your company over. So I imagine you're working full time from home remotely at the moment. What's your setup like, and how have you got it to this point?
Yeah, so my team is all over the country. In fact, most of my team's on the East Coast. So moving here was partly a business decision, be closer to them. And but none of them are in Tennessee. None of them are there. In fact, I don't have any team members in Arizona. It's just for me, part of coming home was not just a business decision and a cost savings decision, but it was also being able to disconnect for lunch every day with the kids. Being able to not have to get in the car and commute and spend an hour a day in the car behind the wheel away from the family. So what has been the biggest challenge for me is really being able to disconnect from that computer. And I didn't think it would be this easy, but we've been in this new house for just a couple of weeks already. My bedroom is downstairs. My office is upstairs. That distance has made it so much easier when I walk out of here at the end of the day to not think about coming back. In my old home, it was walk out the bedroom door, make a quick right, walk right into the office. Like there wasn't even another door to walk through. And it made it so hard to disconnect because like, oh, I'm getting ready for bed. Let me just check one more thing. Now I'm getting ready for bed. Like I got to go upstairs. I got to turn lights on. Like it sounds silly. And I'm sure there's some people laughing about that right now. But for me, that created enough of a distance between work and home that it's actually been easier to unplug.
I bet that is one little thing. It's like, there's little health weight loss hacks they say about putting taking 3 deep breaths before you open the refrigerator. Just little things like that just slow you down and just let you breathe a little bit and let you recheck yourself. So in my office here, this is my front yard is there, so I've got a window with the blinds closed, but if my kids are playing, I can hear them there. We've got the kitchen and living area right there, and the bathroom is right there. And so I can hear everything all the time. And it is challenging, it is rough, but I think we are getting there slowly, Ryan Englin, because I am in the process in my business where we are hiring lots of people. And this is obviously why you came on the show today, to talk about hiring and recruitment. Yes. Now, we mentioned at the beginning, before we came on air, that a lot of our listeners in the coaching space, maybe they are going it solo at the moment. Mm-hmm. Maybe they are hiring their first couple of remote virtual assistants to handle their social media, that sort of thing. Some of them have sales teams, marketing agencies, a lot of contractors. But 11 days from today, sir, will be onboarding my first full-time local employee. into my business. Very, very.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I cannot wait. I am stoked. I'm stoked because I'm going on a little weekend away with my family, like 3 days after that, and so
Oh.
it's just worked out really, a nice little bit of serendipity there that I'm going to be able to hopefully just switch off my phone for like a day and a half. Can't wait. So mate, the first thing I want to talk about is really not so much the tangibles of hiring, but the mindset to get into. Because Amazon spending $60 million a year to find people to then pay more money to sounds bonkers and terrifying for people whose main concern is not bringing in enough money, right? Yeah. So, and even for me, I think of, just the staff cost that's going to be next month versus this month. And the little thing goes off in my head, but I know that it's going to be worth it. So people are scared to hire their first person or their first small team. How can we help them to switch into the mindset to realize this is the key to scaling a business and creating freedom?
Yeah. So I want to give a tip as well, like something they can tactically do once they've got the mindset right. But I will tell you that when it comes to the mindset, there's a couple of things to remember when you are hiring that first person. Number one, let go of the idea that they will never be able to do it as well as you. You've got to let go of that idea. And I can't tell you how many times I see budding entrepreneurs struggle with this. They don't want to let go of these things. Now, keep in mind, as an entrepreneur, it's been said you wear anywhere between 15 and 7,000 hats, right? Like it just depends. It's a crazy number of hats that you wear, from accounting to finance, to sales, to marketing, to HR, to compliance, to tax. Like so many hats you wear. When you hire someone, they take on one, maybe two. They're not distracted. They're able to focus and double down on the activities that you hired them for. So more likely than not, they will do it better than you, so long as you train them to do it your way. And that would be the second thing. When you bring someone on, it's not baptism by fire. You do not just say, we're going to throw you in the deep end and see if we can figure it out. Make sure you've got a plan for training and mentoring them. Remember, people want to be led. If they wanted to be leaders, they wouldn't be coming to work for you. They would be starting their own business or running someone else's company. People want to be led. They need a leader. So you need to put on that training hat and say, how can I train them effectively to be able to do the work that I need them to do? So it's letting go and then training them how to do it your way. And those two things right there, I mean, it can probably take a lifetime to master, but those two things will make things so much better for you when you bring on, especially that first person, because that first person can make or break your company. It's got to be the right one. I mean, think about that. You're going to disappear for 3 days. I don't know how stable your business is, but there are a lot of businesses that in 3 days could be burnt to the ground if not done right. Not to scare you.
No, I wouldn't have done it. It'll be fine. I know it'll be fine. I did it. I've done it before, and you come back to a couple of, small, nothing crazy. Last time I did it was for about 5 days over Christmas last year, and I said to my team, basically, you can take, a week off, unpaid completely, or I can pay you and you do everything. And they're like, yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. And they nailed it, which is really, really cool.
Of course. That's the thing. When we let go, your people will amaze you. They just will.
100%, man. I adore my entire team, and so blessed to have them. And I try and tell them that as much as possible. So that's really cool, man. So the concept of people not being able to do it as well as you, truly, very, very well, it's very true for people to believe that, especially in the coaching space where so many people's business name is their name.
Yeah.
Alex Morris. I'm a coach. Okay. All right. Sweet. Tony Robbins. This is, consultants, people who people come to see them and work with them. So that can be a tricky area where I hear coaches say that all the time. It's like, yeah, Ryan, but I actually have to do everything. because people are expecting they're expecting me, and I don't think it's an ego thing. I think it's just a misconception that they believe
Oh,
that everyone wants to work with them and them
yeah.
alone.
Oh, that's
What
my
would you say to
personal
that?
story you're getting into now.
Please go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah. So, I was a consultant, marketing agency, doing fractional CMO work. People wanted to work with me. And so my idea was, I'll hire people to do the behind the scenes work. Then I pivoted into this, went through a restructure, went through a business partner split, was solo for years. And I'd hire people, part-time or contractors or have remote people, but no one that was ever known by any of my clients, because I had the belief that even though the company name was Core Matters and we were selling the corporate hiring system, that the people were buying Ryan Englin. I had that belief. I still struggle with that belief. Don't get me wrong. I still struggle with it. And then I met somebody who wanted to go start her own business. And we started talking and I said, hey, it sounds like our philosophies align, our values align. Let's work together. And at the time I was like, you know what? She can just be my assistant. That was my mindset. Like, she just be my assistant because people are still here to buy me. And and this is the thing. I was forced to do it. So she'd been working with me for a while. She'd been talking to some clients. She'd been nurturing some clients. She was actually, some of our clients, she was a much better fit than I was. And she would get things done so much faster. So I was coaching her, I was training her, and then I got really sick. And I had no choice but to just say, okay, either we shut everything down until I'm better. I was out for like 3 weeks, or I let her run with it. And she hated me for it because she didn't want to do it, but she was a team player. She was bought into the vision of the company. She said, I will go figure it out. We came out of that. And it still took a while to get this all dialed in, but she now coaches more clients than I do. Clients request her. They like her because she's much more nurturing and guides them through it. I'm like, no, let's just get over it already. And they're like, that's not coaching. So, and she just has a completely different style, but our clients love her. They get great results because of it. And I can actually walk away. I moved across the country with my family. Anybody that thinks you can do that and still run a business without any hiccups, you're nuts. That was a lot of distraction for me. And the business kept going and the clients are still happy. In fact, some of our clients probably don't even know I moved yet because she was able to step in and she coaches all of them now. And I never thought I'd be able to hire another coach. I never thought I'd be able to hire anyone that could think like me or teach like me. And you know what? I was right. But I found someone who could actually coach better than me and teach better than me and connect with clients better than me, because that's what she focuses on.
So good. So good. I've done my notepad with me today. I want to write down something to come back to.
Okay.
So I'll just try and remember it. But have you ever read the book Rocket Fuel by Gino Wickman?
I have.
Yeah, this is reminding me a lot of that book that I was recommended, Visionaries and Integrators.
Yes.
And I don't like terming myself as a visionary. It seems a little grandiose for a guy who just kind of comes up with copywriting for ads, that sort of thing.
A guy with purple lights in the background. Yeah, not grandiose at all.
I mean, these lights can change to whatever color you need them to be, Ryan. So careful. I may.
I would say that's the trademark of a visionary entrepreneur. Is like, I can't just buy the one color lights. I got to buy all the color lights.
Custom
Love it,
neon
Alex.
sign, some colored lights, and a bunch of books I have never read. Yeah, but you got to have them in the background, right?
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to. I mean, I haven't even got my background done yet. So
Wine, books, the beach, and Led Zeppelin, things I like.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, there was a poster of Anthony Bourdain there as well, which is like my prized poster, but it fell down. I'm getting it framed to go right behind me.
Nice.
Good old Bourdain. He's the
Yeah,
man.
I would say I barely know you, Alex, and I would say you're a visionary, and that's great because visionaries are the ones that grow businesses beyond what people thought were possible. They're the ones that take the risks.
We need to be a little optimistic, a little deluded in our own favor, that sort of thing. Every now and then to be a visionary.
Yeah.
And then this lady who, this full-time lady coming on for me, integrator, to quote the book Rocket Fuel, she'll be my integrator. And is that the same sort of thing that this lady you're talking about?
We've talked about that. So I mean, we definitely have different personalities, different behavioral traits, which is the visionary integrator, right? The visionaries are the ones that wake up in the morning, have 100 ideas by breakfast. They're all amazing in the eyes of the visionary. And then they give them to the integrator, and the integrator is like, I'll give you one, maybe, but let's see if we can do it. But they take that visionary idea and they make it happen. They go implement it. They integrate it throughout the business. And there's been talks about whether or not she would be a great integrator or not. I struggle because I'm a high visionary and a high integrator. Like I kind of balance, more visionary. But I love getting in the weeds and building stuff and breaking things and making them better. And so does she. But I think right now the dynamic works because in a coaching business, what I found is that there doesn't have to be a million moving parts. It probably feels like it, especially when early on as a coach, because you don't know what you don't know. But someone asked me on a podcast a couple of weeks ago, and they said, Ryan, if you could go back 10 years and do it all over again and just take one piece of knowledge with you, what would it be? And I don't know why, but I didn't even hesitate. I said it would be niche early and niche deep. Because the more I find that I niche, the simpler my business becomes.
Sure.
And it took a long time. I mean, I still struggle with that, but the simpler my business becomes, and when it becomes simpler, I don't need as many moving parts, as many people, as many different roles. Some people can join my team and wear 3 or 4 different hats. They don't just have to wear integrator or just wear visionary. And I know Gino is freaking out right now by me saying that because that is against what they teach in Rocket Fuel. But I found that the simpler I can make my business, the more I can automate my business. And the more I can automate it, the more I can hire people to do people things. And I think that's another thing that gets lost amongst early entrepreneurs is they hire people to do administrative things. And with the technology we have now and the internet we have now and everything being online and digital, you can get computers to do administrative things for you. You don't need people to do that.
Yeah, cool. I like that. That's an interesting one because I was going to dig into a little bit of that, the automation, the artificial intelligence stuff. And I think, from a marketing content creation space, there's definitely a side, and an argument for using a fair amount of artificial intelligence and an argument very much against it as well. One of them being that eventually the internet, artificial intelligence feeds off information on the internet, and eventually the ratio will shift to where so much of that information is created by artificial intelligence that ChatGPT is just getting fed more information that came from ChatGPT in the first place, and then it's this just like vortex of
hallucinations go off the chart, and we don't 100%. Know what's true anymore. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's a bit tricky, but in terms of just systemizing admin tasks, that's really interesting. Can you just throw a few little nuggets out there that will have the coaches listening think, holy crow, I can actually automate that part of my business?
Yeah. So some of the things that we've done that I think have really changed things for us. Real early on, we got into recurring revenue. And in the beginning, I was sending invoices manually through QuickBooks every single month, go in there, click, 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 send. Now, QuickBooks has added some automations around that and stuff. But right after that, I mean, as quickly as I could, I got on a platform that not only sent all my invoices and processed all my payments and sent reminders and let people know when their credit cards were expiring and I can set it and forget it. And that was a huge one for me because as a coaching business, I run out of money at the end of the month and I need to replenish every single month with my clients. And so it was really important that I automate the things that are not only predictable, but that are important. And we teach that in our recruiting process as well. Automate the things that are predictable and the things that are important. And that was one of them. Another one that we automated really early on was the capture of conversations with customers or with our clients so that we could, as a team, get access to that information. I see a lot of small entrepreneurs, what they do is they share inboxes, right? There's an info at and everybody shares it. And it makes it so hard to find the information when you need it. So we got on a simple CRM, copied all the emails every time we sent something, stored everything. And anytime we needed to go see where our client was at in their journey with us, we could just click and see it. And the amount of time we saved by not searching through an inbox that was shared that had all sorts of stuff in it was just, I mean, it compounded so quickly.
Great. Yeah, I love that. I love that, especially when you have a program, that is the same steps for each client, that sort of thing. Where
when you niche deep, you can do that. But when you're everything to everyone, it's really hard to do that.
It is. It very much is. Preach, Ryan Englin. I agree. Yeah, we've done most of that. We've done most of that, and so we've got like a 56-step checklist that is 3 months of working with the client from day 1 to day 90. Just tick, 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 and I built it. The one thing I don't go and do is actually go and tick off each step as we do it.
Yeah.
So, currently, I've got 30 clients, 100 ad campaigns, all up in my, noggin right here, along with, kids going to the doctors, accounting, trying to stay fit, what's for dinner tonight, all those things. So that's why I'm really, really happy to have talented people coming in. But Ryan, here's the thing, mate. I've got my small coaching business, right? Do I firstly hire someone who's going to cost me $3,000 a month next month that I can't afford, or do I, and risk losing some money so I can take on more clients, or do I take on more clients first?
Chicken or the egg
for the person? Which one do I do? I need to know.
Chicken or the egg? I love it. No, it's the same. We used to run into this in the marketing side of things, right? Do I hire more salespeople or spend more on marketing budget? Right? It's the same problem that we run into. Here's what I believe. When you're building a team and you are bringing people onto your team, not only do you have to trust them with your business, what I call your baby. For a lot of people, this is their baby, right? Like, it's hard to let go of your baby and let someone else manage it or work within it. But when you're thinking about that, finding people you can trust is one hurdle you have to go over. Letting go is another hurdle you have to get over. But when it comes to, do you automate or do you hire a person? The question is, do you need the human condition attached to the work that you do? Because if you don't need the human condition, automate it. If you don't need the personal connection or the emotion that comes with it or the empathy that comes with it, if you don't need those things, hire a computer all day long. They don't call in sick. They don't cause drama. Right? There's a whole bunch of benefits. But in a coaching business, I would suggest that automate those really important things that need to be automated, but hire great people that your clients are going to love, because that will do more for your business than another piece of software automation. My team teases me all the time. I'm a junkie when it comes to software. And they're like, what is this, a new piece of software? I'm like, I'm just testing it. They're like, no, you're not. You're actually going to do something with this. I can't tell you how many times I've bought an automation tool because I thought that was going to be the answer, and it wasn't. And all I needed to do was find another one of the right people to go take care of my clients. And that catapulted my business faster than any automated piece of software.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very, very good way of deciding which one you're going to do. Do you need the human condition, the empathy from it? And you really don't need that with sending invoices out, do you?
No.
So that's funny. So many softwares though. Hey, too many softwares out there. But I think that some of them, nearly all of them, do have a good purpose. I saved a meme the other day. I can't find it, but it was like, corporate jobs be like, I can't believe that you didn't Snapple me the results from WebJet and make sure you don't log into Fork Stash before my hash box has been nippled. It was so funny. And then I find myself talking like that with my guys. Like, I just sent you a Fathom link in Slack. Can you please just integrate that into Ads Manager? It's like,
what's sad is I know exactly what you just said.
Yeah. When do I? Yeah, I know, right? When did it all get so complicated? I used to be a chef. We used to work with meat and potatoes, and now here we are working with artificial intelligence and pixels. But that's okay because it definitely is, providing you and I more time with our families, and ultimately that is the goal.
Yeah.
At least it is for me. What I remember what I wanted to ask you as well, which was about creating a system that all your clients can follow and therefore all your team can follow as well. And I imagine that you told that story about you getting sick and this new coach coming on board. You have something called the Core Fit hiring system. And that's something that I'd imagine you created because it's named after your business. And is that, or talk to us about that system a little bit without, giving it all away.
Well,
and then,
I'll tell you what, on October 17th, I will be giving it all away because that's when my book comes out, all about the Core Fit hiring system.
Woo!
So,
plug away.
yeah, be ready for that. Name of the book is Hire Better People Faster. And here's the thing about the Core Fit hiring system. I learned really early on that the more I can systematize, the more I can give away to my team. Because I would rather have a great system and good people running it than a good system and great people constantly fixing it.
Right.
And so I'm not saying lower your standards for people, but when it comes to the skills required to do the work, if you have a great system, people can follow it. People can plug into the process. And then I can focus on hiring the things that are really important, which are people who fit your core. And that would be your culture, your vision. Like, where are you going with the company? Are these people going to be the ones that want to get and stay on the bus with you? Like, that's so important because business gets hard. And anybody that tells you it doesn't get hard is lying to you. There are times when business gets hard, and you want your people to stick with you through the hard times. And if they're excited about where you're going, they're going to do that. So you can start hiring people and focusing on people that are attracted to your vision. Do they behave the way you behave? Are they going to treat the customers the way you want? I have so many people tell me, oh, no one will ever care about my business as much as I will. I'm like, you're right. A lot of people will care more than you will because they're not wearing 27 different hats. They're not pulled in 100 different directions. They're able to focus on things that are important. And I will tell you, my team yells at me more often about the quality of work I'm doing than I have conversations with them about the quality of work they're doing. So do they behave the right way? And then finally, do you find people that align to your purpose? Every single person listening to this right now, if you're a coach, not only are you a coach for a reason, but you coach on what you coach for a reason. You all have a why for why you chose coaching, why you chose that specific line of coaching. You need to focus on hiring people that align to your purpose, why you get out of bed every morning to coach on what you coach on. Like, what is that? And for me, it was about these entrepreneurs that struggle, that are challenged because no one ever taught them how to recruit. No one ever taught them how to retain employees. And it becomes not only a detriment to their family, but to their employees, to their communities, and it hurts everybody. And when I share my vision and I share our purpose and my why, my team rallies around that because they've worked for someone like my dad, or they've worked for someone who didn't have their act together and was constantly pulled in 100 different directions because they couldn't let go, or they've worked for someone who had that belief that no one's ever going to do it as good as I will, so they got micromanaged. They've worked for those people. And like, we need to change this. And we can be a change agent when we put the right system into these businesses and teach these people how to use it. So that's why I built the Core Fit hiring system, which is a set of tools and processes to help you hire better people faster. You mentioned EOS, you mentioned Gino Wickman, Traction. Right? Traction is a set of tools and processes to help you get a grip on your business. That's the tagline for the book. And those systems and processes are so critical if you want to be able to step away and let good people run great processes. So that's what we built.
You're so good at this, Ryan. Wow. Just sit here and wallow in your greatness for a few seconds there, mate. Really, really cool stuff. And I just love that concept of having good people run a great system rather than great people running a good system and constantly fixing it. This reminds me of McDonald's. of Subway, of, you know, these huge businesses that are just repeatable. And you can have, you know, 16-year-olds running a McDonald's with a 19-year-old manager, and it'll basically work pretty well and be, you know, a pretty predictable product because of how good the system is. And it takes me back to the movie The Founder, which I'm sure you've seen as well.
I have.
When they're devising the drawing on a basketball court, you know, the best way to move around a kitchen to make it most efficient. And I do wish I had that brain, but I don't. But that's okay. I'm learning about it. And the CoreFit hiring system sounds like a really, really cool thing. So how confident would you feel right now to take a week, 2 weeks off and just go off grid and go fishing?
You know, first off, if I took 2 weeks off of grid, there's probably a lot of other things that my addictive personality would miss. But, you know, I moved my family across country, and it took us a full 3 months to between packing up everything, getting rid of the house, moving across country, finding a place to just call home in the meantime while we looked for a home and bought furniture and did all this stuff that you have to do when you move across country and gave up a lot of your stuff. And I mean, there were entire weeks where I didn't have time to think about work, and my team took care of it. And they knew to call me if there was a problem. They knew that I was going to be distracted, and they supported me through the whole thing. And it was incredible. Now, did the business grow as much as it could have had I been 100% focused? Probably not. But guess what? That's not my team's job. My team's job is to serve our clients. And we have more clients that had stayed through this because they were focused on keeping the clients than ever before. So I am confident that I could walk away from the business for a couple of weeks and they would take care of it. They would know what to do. And the important things like invoicing, like payment processing are all automated. So I don't have to worry about, are they going to do those things?
Great. That's really cool, man. That's really cool. And I think that a business not fully growing fast because you're doing other stuff in your life, that's fine as well. I mean, that's part of having a business that is yours. I always think that, you know, as long as all the team's getting paid, all the clients are doing their thing, you know, that's basically fine.
No, I'm not complaining about that at all. My point was, did it all go off without a hitch? No. But you know what? The business is still here. Clients are still happy. They got served. They got taken care of. In fact, some of our processes got better because I was out, and they're like, we need you for this. And I was like, well, we need to fix that. So you don't need me for that anymore. And it helped us identify some of those things. That's something that Mike Michalowicz talks about in Clockwork. I don't know if you've read that book.
Sure.
You don't read much. That's right. They're all just back there. I
listen a lot.
There's probably a Blinkist for it somewhere, right? You can listen to it. But I'll tell you what, the big thing that I got out of Clockwork, so the whole point of Clockwork is that at the end of, was it a year, 18 months, that you could take a 4-week vacation completely unplugged and your business would work. And it's not a rip the Band-Aid off, jump in the deep end in 18 months and walk away for 4 weeks. It's take some trials along the way. Disappear for a week and see what breaks. Come back and fix it. Then disappear for a week, see what breaks, then come back and fix that. You do that enough times over the next year or two, and you're going to be able to walk away for a month and nothing's going to break.
Well, the funny thing is, like, things break when we are here. Like, it's not like everything goes off without a hitch on a day when I'm here for 8 hours.
But the thing about most entrepreneurs that I've noticed is that we get in and we fix it, not needing credit for it, not letting people know about it, just behind the scenes, I'm going to take care of it. So no one else knows it broke, which if no one else knows it breaks, and we're just in the habit of always fixing it, we're never going to get it fixed well enough that we can walk away.
Very, very true. My goodness. Just bombs coming out of you all day, Ryan. Just freaking bombs. Really, really enjoying this show. We've got to wrap it up in about 3 or 4 minutes though, which is really, but it's really, really been cool. How is the family enjoying Nashville? Has it all worked out well?
You know what? It has. We got a house that we love. We are in a neighborhood where the kids are starting to meet other kids. We found a church that we've plugged into pretty quick. And, you know, they've gotten almost 10 inches of rain since we've been here, which I come from Arizona, which 10 inches of rain might be 2 or 3 years. We get 10 inches, we got it in 2 months here. But that's one of the allures for me, was that it's green, it's wet, there's places to go fishing. So I've been loving the weather and the storms and everything. It feels like home to me. And, my wife and the kids are starting to venture out into the neighborhood. And so, yeah, things are going really well.
So good. And how spicy do you take your Nashville hot chicken?
You know what? I haven't had any yet.
My goodness.
I know.
My
How
goodness.
awful is that? We've even
nearly opened it
vacationed here
Nashville.
plenty of times, and I still haven't had any.
There we go. Well, you're going to have to, mate. I nearly opened a Nashville hot chicken restaurant about this time 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, that was going to be probably my business that I'll be doing instead of this one. But I had a business partner. He's got two burger shops, and we had a concept, like a spin-off, that was going to be just pure hot fried chicken shop, because no one's doing just that one thing in Sydney. And then he pulled me into his sort of office one day, and it's like, dude, I can't even staff one restaurant right now, let alone two. I've got to pull the plug on it. And so I just took all the money I was going to put into that, put it into mentoring and stuff for digital marketing, and I'm really glad it worked out. But I think you're going to have to get out there and get your fingers dirty with some Nashville hot chicken.
Well, if your friend's still running the burger shops and he's still struggling to hire people, tell him you know somebody.
He's crushing it now, man. He's got two restaurants. The second one's bigger than the first. It was just during lockdowns. All the people who work in kitchens are mostly travelers.
Yeah.
And so when they all went home, and all the Australian people were getting paid by the government to stay at home, then there was no incentive to go and work in a busy restaurant, which was getting pumped the entire time because they did great takeaway. So it was, yeah, man, but that's really funny. So I just had to drop a couple of chicken questions. You've disappointed me for the first time in the whole show,
I apologize.
Ryan.
Hey, but I've been fishing multiple times since I've been here. So let's just say that the important stuff got taken care of.
Yeah, man, that's beautiful. I'm really, really going to have to, by the next time we talk, go and do some fishing, because I've been promising myself for a long time I'd learn to fish.
Nice.
And I'll have to do that because my wife doesn't eat seafood. She grew up not eating fish, not eating seafood. And so it's all on me to get the kids eating fish. All on me. Because I think it's a very, very healthy thing to eat.
My
sure
my wife learned to cook salmon on the stovetop, and we got both the kids to taste it. And my son, 6 years old, begs us, is it salmon night? Is it salmon night? Is it salmon night? So he's much more of a taster than my daughter is, but he's starting to venture out into other fish now. But yeah, we love salmon night. So.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, before we go, Ryan Englin is going to give us his hot tips for making kid-friendly, delicious salmon or fish. How do you do it, Ryan? Give us your secrets.
Oh, well, it's my wife's secrets, and she learned how to pan fry salmon, and it just, I don't know what she does. I don't know how to do it, but
Perfect.
My son just adores it. I will tell you though, fresh salmon is the way to go. You cannot get the frozen stuff. It just, he can tell. I don't know what it is. A 6-year-old can tell. I can't tell.
He's a connoisseur.
So,
He's a connoisseur.
but, and butter. Butter is another, probably one of the secrets,
I'll tell you what I do. This is a recipe for an old restaurant I used to work in, and I think this is going to be really fun. Okay, so you don't get the crispy skin this way, which is always a downside, but it's still pretty good. Okay, so cut the salmon into, take the fillet or the fillet in half lengthways so they're a bit thinner than normal.
Yep.
And then like miso paste, you water that down a little bit with like some oil or water so it's thinner, and you just rub that on the salmon, and you put it in a super hot oven for like 5 minutes, kind of like top shelf of the oven.
Yeah.
And it just caramelizes. 5 minutes, let it rest for a couple minutes. It'll be pink, flaky. It's so easy. No cleaning up afterwards. You put on a baking sheet. Mate, that's how I introduce my wife to eating salmon, because it will never be overcooked, and it's rock and roll.
Amazing.
So,
Amazing. All right. We're going to figure that one out. Love it.
Miso salmon. And me so happy you came on the show today, Ryan. What a beautiful, beautiful episode. I've really had so much fun with you, mate. I'm sorry I talked a lot, but you made me excited to talk about my business with you.
Hey, I enjoyed it.
Good stuff, man. So hire better people faster. That's the name of the book I didn't even know about, but I'm glad you plugged it, and I can't wait to see that come out on October 17th, brother.
Yeah, thank you.
Great news. Are you reading the audiobook yourself?
I already did that. I did that 4 days before I drove cross country with my family. So 18 hours in a studio. Oh, it was brutal. I don't know if I'll ever do it again, but I did read the audiobook myself.
You got it done. I can't wait to listen to that one, brother, and I definitely will because I listen to a lot of books. I cannot thank you enough for taking your evening. It's 9 p.m. there nearly, and spending it with us and the audience. Ryan Englin from Core Matters, thank you so much for being on the show today, mate.
Thank you for having me.
Anyone listening, I'll be back next week with 2 more episodes of Coaches to the Moon. Until then, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for listening. Much love and peace out. Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end. If you love our guests, then in the show notes of this episode, you can find their socials, you can follow them, you can learn more about all the free resources and programs they've got. I highly recommend you do it. Until then, thank you so much. I'll be back here next week with Coaches to the Moon. Have an amazing day. Peace out.
Coaches to the Moon will be back next week. Until then, reach us on Facebook at To The Moon Digital Marketing.